What's up, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Blakeney, aka Brandon Lee TV. Kick back, relax, and come take a ride with me. Now, I've been quiet, but I've been observing all the disrespect, and I can't stay silent any longer.
You are now locked into the Live with Brandon Blakeney podcast. Here is your host, Brandon Blakeney.
It's gone from, wow, John Calipari runs this offense that is so cutting edge and the dribble drive. And now we're like, some of this shit looks like the Stone Age. When Cal got to Kentucky, I just thought, how can this ever go bad? That's what it felt like. How can this ever not work? Because the fan base that Kentucky has, the resources that Kentucky has, the boosters, the way they were getting players, the way they were winning, the people that were in the program, and now I am baffled.
Kentucky, Big Blue Nation, some of y'all been disrespecting Coach Calipari. Now, I'm easily the second greatest coach of all time in Kentucky history. Leaning towards that first one, man, if he can get a couple more of them things in the next 6 years. But anyway, before we get into all that, they talking about this guy might not be the one for the job anymore. Coach Cal? 6-time SEC tournament champs, 6-time SEC conference champs, won a natty in 2012, coach of the year. Probably could have got another natty if the season wasn't canceled in 2019-2020 season, if it wasn't cut short. I mean, that team with Quickly and Massey and Richards, come on now. Just that far removed, 2020, 3 years later, with the number one recruiting class in the nation coming in, mind you, they're saying that analysts too in the sports world, people, I've been seeing it everywhere on social media, people saying that he might not be right for this job anymore. Are y'all serious? Now look, I understand the last 2 years. 2 years ago, Oscar Tshiebwe, great player, National Player of the Year. They were solid, weren't that good, St. Peter's, whatever. They frankly, they weren't that good, though, let's be honest. Like, talent-wise, that team was not a typical star-studded Kentucky group. Last year, they were mediocre, pretty much brought back the same team, and you see, like, the mass exodus going on.
I just am baffled at how we got here, and it's jarring to see who's leaving. Damon Collins, C.J. Frederick, Chris Livingston, Oscar Tshiebwe, Jacob Toppin, Cason Wallace, Lance Ware, Severe Wheeler. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is a ton of talented guys on a team that really wasn't great for a lot of the year and made the second round of the NCAA tournament. And you lose all that?
Look, I get it. But a lot of these guys were going to lose minutes to these freshmen coming in anyways. And the other ones, some of them, declared for the NBA draft, but this isn't typical Kentucky talent where these guys are headlining the class, guaranteed lottery picks. This isn't that type of talent. The talent they have coming in, frankly, though, this number one recruiting class with DJ Wagner, Rob Dillingham, two guards that are interchangeable, can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor, create shots, create for others. These two are coming in ready from day one. This will be one of the most dynamic and exciting backcourts. Paired with Reed Sheppard, knockdown shooter, can be the glue guy, plays defense, sneaky athletic, got some bounce. Throw in Aaron Bradshaw, 7-footer, played with Wagner in New Jersey at Camden. 7-footer, anchoring the defense, blocking shots, can switch and guard smaller defenders. He will be the man manning the paint. Can also stretch the floor. Freakish prospect. His best basketball is definitely ahead of him, but you got a guy like that. Then the number one player in the class, Justin Edwards, Mr. Hard Work, Mr. Do-It-All on the wing, being able to be a reliable scorer, make big shots, guard the best player on the other side. Plus, they added in Jordan Burks recently, another forward, athletic wing player that can score the basketball, led the overtime league in scoring coming in, a real diamond in the rough, late addition. They add him, so they're about, 7, 8 players. Most teams, I know depth can be an issue, and you don't want to see any injuries, but no team does, honestly. But most teams are going with like an 8-man rotation anyways. I don't think they're done. Maybe they get some more players in the transfer, patch up some things, add a couple vets. But again, these freshmen are going to be playing the bulk of the minutes, and this is a superstar class, one of those ones that Coach Cal tends to bring in every now and then, more so frequently earlier years. But now this class, to keep them together and have all of them at one school with the development of NIL and so many other paths to the draft, this is impressive, first off. Like, this class, I think, is going to be fun. They've played together in these camps and all these all-star games and stuff like that, so there's chemistry built. And you take a look at this. I mean, hey, they look like they're having a good amount of fun and bonding at Coach Cal's house. This team is going to be so much more fun to watch than last year. Number 1 recruiting class coming in. The sky's the limit. Like, this is going to be a really, really good team, I believe. This looks like an NCAA tournament team and has potential to win the SEC on paper. And we're talking about Coach Cal bringing in the number 1 class. We're not even talking about the countless millionaires. The man has made more millionaires than Apple and Warren Buffett. We're not even talking about the past or the charity work. It's bigger than basketball, off the court with his foundation, giving back, staying in players' lives for the long haul, being a mentor, being that role model in their life that they can rely on. On top of all that, the on-the-court success speaks for itself.
Here's my thing again. What we got going, we've been so at a high level. Last year and the year before, we win 47, 48 games in 2 years and 2 NCAA tournaments and all that. In a normal place, that's, wow, we got this wrong. At Kentucky, there's something different about Kentucky good. And Kentucky good, we've been there. I mean, it was only when the season ended with Maxey, Quickly, Ashton, Nick, the guys we had on that group, where we could have won a national title that year. We won the league by 3. That was only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Then you have the COVID year. Then the last 2 years. But you know what? We got a good group coming in. The landscape has changed. This transfer stuff has changed stuff. The name, image, and likeness has changed stuff. But no, I think we're on a good path. I want to do some special things here. We got 6 years left to do some really good stuff. And I think we're doing some staff things.
Well, what do you mean 6 years?
Well, I've got 6 years on a contract. And I'm like saying, all right, let's make this run and let's do some things. Let's get this back where we were. And again, we haven't been that far. I mean, 2 years ago, we were the 5th overall seed. Like, what I mean?
Now, understand that, expectations are different in Kentucky. They're spoiled. It's win or bust every year, like most blue bloods. I get it. But, guys, y'all have the number 1 recruiting class coming in. These freshmen are special. And Coach Cal's the only one I see that can get the best out of these guys at Kentucky. And we asking, does he still have it? With 6 years left on the contract, it would cost them $50 million to buy him out. And it don't seem like he's going anywhere. He's ready to go anywhere, for that matter, I should say. And we spoke on NIL, and Coach Cal's been very vocal about how he's felt about it and how it's changed the game.
I mean, you talk about name, image, and likeness. I don't like to get into that with players because you don't come to Kentucky. I call that tripping over nickels to try to get to an NBA max contract. I mean, we've probably got 12 or 13 guys in the league now that have max deals. And you got others, it may be 15, 16 in another year or two. So, but our kids make more than anybody. You saw Jacob Toppin on an AT&T commercial. Lil Wayne's in my office saying, "Where's Jacob Toppin?" I saw him on that AT&T commercial. You've got John Morgan, national stuff, because we're at Kentucky and because, our TV, even last year, rated higher than anybody, what we do and what we're seeing.
Yeah, but these kids want what the other kids are getting at other schools, Coach.
And they will, but I'm not I don't want to go in and the first thing I talk about is name, image, and likeness. That's not why you come to Kentucky. That isn't. Yet you are going to do better than anywhere else you go. But why talk about that? I mean, literally, you're coming here. I've had many players say their first year in the NBA was at Kentucky. All that we did, how we practiced, how we competed, and that's what's happened. Kaysen, looking right now like a lottery pick from last year. I mean, that's what this is about: winning at the highest level, knowing that every game is someone's Super Bowl, knowing you can't hide, you're going to be on national television. And Dan, why do you think people want to watch Kentucky so much? Because they want to see us win?
No.
No. And when we're up 20, they turn the TV off. I understand that our team does. But all that you do by coming here, the competitive practices, you can't hide. And now you're prepared for what's ahead.
With all that being said, though, the La Familia could really be a game changer for them.
La Familia Club is something that Cal has now created. It's not a collective, but a new fundraising model to bring together Kentucky's top boosters and several of Kentucky's stars in the NBA. So this is a basketball-specific collective. It looks like that the Wildcats are going to be utilizing from here on out. First thoughts initially, before we continue to read further, this is great for the long-term success of Coach Cal's tenure, for the rest of what he's going to be doing with the Wildcats, and I think it's really good if it's able to kind of be laid as a foundational piece for Kentucky's NIL collective stuff in the future. It's going to be really good for future coaches and Wildcats to come. In short, it's a legitimate and legal way to raise money and pay student athletes beyond traditional marketing avenues. It's a collective that Cal has started that he's gone on to say, I believe in the article Drew Franklin and Jack Pilgrim did, went on to explain that he really doesn't want it to be a collective, like not label it as that, even though it operates, or it looks like it's going to operate as such. And you may say, well, what are they going to be paying the student athletes to do? Well, according to what we know now, it's apparently going to be for things like signings, meetups, appearances, different things like that. It's going to be giving the players opportunities to get paid for different events and autographs.
I mean, flat out, though, the disrespect is just mind-boggling. It's crazy the world we live in is such a what have you done for me lately type of world, where a guy like Coach Cal is on the hot seat at Kentucky. Like, are we serious? Do y'all remember what Kentucky was like when Coach Cal was at Memphis before he got there? Like, no disrespect to Jody Meeks, but come on. People weren't exactly dying. They weren't getting the level of recruits that they're getting now. People weren't dying to go to Kentucky. Like, he had to revive that program. And yeah, it's a wonderful job. The fans, the money, the resources, we get it. Players want to go there. But come on, Coach Cal revived a sleeping giant. And people are already forgetting, writing a guy off. Man, the disrespect is just crazy. I'm going to be honest, they weren't that good last year. They weren't fun to watch, man. It just wasn't an entertaining group. And it just, some of those guys I don't think would have been at Kentucky under normal circumstances. But hey, here we are in the transfer portal era. Yeah, they lost a lot. A lot of those guys weren't going to be getting the minutes they got last year anyways. Let's be honest. And I mean, Sheway played for damn near 10 years. How long y'all want him to stay? You know what I'm saying? I think the writing was on the wall with a lot of these vets. And a lot of the top transfer portal targets they're thinking the same thing we're talking about now. These freshmen are going to get majority of the minutes. So if you are a transfer portal guy, you got to come in knowing that, hey, probably not going to be the star player here. Probably not going to be the number one or number two option. You're going to be a role player. And for a lot of the top guys, that's just not an option and not what they're looking for, especially if they're trying to go league. Come on now. Guys aren't trying to lose minutes to freshmen. Now, I'm not saying that this whole class will go, lottery or one and done, but I am saying that this class is special, and I think they're already doing a good job bonding, getting on the court together, and they all bring different skill sets that are going to complement one another and fill holes that just were issues on this Kentucky team last year, man. Like, seriously, it's a weird situation, but none of the guys last year gave you that wow factor. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, they might have one lottery pick coming in Case and Wallace. I really liked him, but there was no reason for him to stay, especially in the backcourt with Dillingham and Wagner coming. Like, there was no point in him staying, a guy like that. He was one of the very few bright spots on that squad last year, so I get it. But seriously, man, I think that the panic is just not necessary. I think Coach Cal still has a lot in the tank, a lot to give to this game. His players love and respect him. You know, all the guys come back for the most part. Like, these guys are around the program. You see it. They've come out and spoken and supported Coach Cal. He goes and supports them, being that role model that they need, or, you know, going to check them out at games, just being involved with their life after the game. You can tell, and it ain't like this with every coach. Trust me, you can tell that he actually cares about the player as people, and it's beyond basketball, man. So if in my opinion, is Coach Cal right man for the job at Kentucky? He's the only man right now, because who the hell you going to get to go replace him? Matter of fact, y'all let me know in the comments, who would y'all go to get to replace Coach Cal? I mean, the disrespect is just... Man, I can't believe y'all. I really can't. I'm shaking my head. This season, I think they're going to close a lot of expectations. They're going to live up to them, but they're going to close the mouths of a lot of doubters. And I think Coach Cal's going to bounce back strong with this freshman class. So we'll see, man. Y'all let me know how y'all feel. I know freshmen haven't won a whole lot. Since 2012, Coach Cal's the only one that's won. And, you know, they had Terrence Jones, who was a great player, too, coming back as a sophomore. So, you know, a lot of freshmen haven't won. Duke won with a pretty heavy freshman lineup, though. They started 4 freshmen and win. People don't talk about that. Well, 3 freshmen, I should say. They started 3 freshmen and 1. People don't talk about that enough. But anyways, man, I think these freshmen coming in are different. So that's a wrap for us. Let me know. We'll follow up on this too. But let me know how y'all feel about all the latest and the greatest. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am Brandon Blakeney, a.k.a. Brandon Lee TV. This is Live with Brandon Blakeney. We talking about a guy that's won over 300 games. Are y'all kidding me? Okay, I'm done. All right, man. We out.